I did not take offense when I was called by the AMC and asked to maybe dress up a little bit, maybe be very careful about the way that I took pictures and keep everything confidential as far as the appraisal goes.
Originating from deep inside the Rocky Mountains, transported through the power of the internet, and arriving inside your tiny earbuds. It's the Appraiser Coach Podcast.
Minisode.
You all know I monitor the appraiser forums online, mostly on Facebook. Run across something every once in a while that makes me chuckle. Ran across something recently that made me chuckle just a bit. But what does not make me chuckle is the sponsor to this program, which is ANow Software, because there's nothing funny about ANow Software. It is absolutely amazing. Changed the way that you do business completely, fully. And you need to check it out. Go to anow.com/coach. Why ANow? Appraisers Now. That's what it stands for. Appraisers Now. anow.com/coach. All right, folks, I was monitoring the Facebook back and forth recently, and there was an appraiser jumped on board and was very put off by the fact that they had received a request from I don't know if it was an AMC or if it was direct from the lender themselves. But it was basically this idea that there was a high net worth individual who had come to them for an appraisal, and they were looking for an appraiser who was willing to maybe step up their game a little bit. And I think the request was something to the effect of make sure that you've got a business card, that you discuss with the homeowner the process, and that you're, there on time for the inspection. And then one of the comments that was made that please dress appropriately. And in parentheses, I think they said business casual. Some of the comments below this post, as you can imagine, were somewhat negative. How dare they tell me how to dress? I'm a professional. I know how to dress for my job. You know what, folks? I have no doubt, because I know appraisers and I know that you are professionals, and I respect that. And I think that you respect your jobs. I have no doubt that you are correct. The one thing I'm going to take exception to today, though, is that some of the comments on the forum were that they have no right to tell me how to dress. I'm going to say maybe they do. And here's why. Okay. Here's why. I know, folks, and I'm with you. Okay. The AMC model is broken. I get it. And there are so many complaints that we can have about AMCs, and I can go off and off about the problems that I've had to deal with working through AMCs and working through, these processes. Now, I've got to the point in my business where I'm doing a majority of my work for AMCs. By the way, it's getting less and less all the time, but I'm doing a majority of my work still for AMCs. And I have narrowed it down to where those AMCs are either B or A clients. And I've discussed on this program before what that means. I work for A clients and B clients. A C client is a Y client. A Y client is, why the hell am I working for you? Okay, so I'm not going to work for C clients. I'm not going to work for Y clients. But I'll do some work for B clients, but the majority of my time and effort and energy is going to be put into A clients, right? And if those happen to be AMCs, a lot of times they're not. But if those happen to be AMCs, I will work for AMCs. Guess what, folks? They give me a paycheck. Okay, this is a key here. They give me a paycheck. Can I say that one more time? They give me a paycheck, and as such, I have the right to refuse work, right? If this individual who posted doesn't want to follow the instructions, they didn't have him accept the order and then say, oh, by the way, we want you to do this, this, and this. No, right up front, we are looking for an appraiser. It's a high net worth borrower, and here's some things we want you to do. We want you to give a little higher treatment than you normally would. Well, guess what, folks? If you don't want to do that work, that's fine. Nobody's saying that you have to. But to say they don't have the right to tell you how to dress, I think we need to relook at that. I do. And here's why, okay? I have in my business both employees When I say employees, I mean W-4 employees. Okay, you know what I'm talking about. These are actual employees with the IRS. They're classified as employees, W-4 employees. Would you say that I have the right with W-4 employees to say, I don't want you to wear holey jeans to work? Now, I don't say that, but do I have the right to say that? I don't want you to wear short shorts to work. I want you to wear either long pants or a dress or a kilt. I don't care. But I don't want you to wear such. Do I have the right as a employer to say that? Well, I think anybody would agree that I do. And if somebody doesn't want to comply with that works for me, I can let them go. Now, a lot of people are under the assumption that if you're a contractor, that your employer, okay, I'm using air quotes, you can't see them, but I'm using air quotes, or the person that hires you to do a job has no right to dictate how you do that job. And that just simply is not the case. When you go to the IRS website and you look up the difference between a contractor and an employee, and you can do this. They have a document that outlines what is an employee and what is a contractor, right? What is a W-4 versus a W-9? And can you make them wear a uniform? No, you cannot make them wear a uniform. But can you ask them to dress professionally because you are a representative of, whatever company has hired you? Of course you can. Because here's the deal, folks. You can refuse to do that work. You can refuse to do that work. And you're not going to get fired for refusing to do that job. They've reached out to this individual and said, listen, normally we don't say much here, but on this one, this is what we want. Does anybody want the job? You can say no and you can walk away. And I don't think anybody would complain about that's a business decision that you are making. Now, let me stress something. That is a business decision that you're making. In other words, you are making the decision as a business or business owner. Okay? You don't necessarily have those same abilities as an employee because you could get fired by saying no to some dictate as long as it didn't, cross over the legal boundaries that we all know. Okay, I hope I'm making sense here today. Because sometimes I see that appraisers, they complain and they say, well, these darn AMCs, they're making me do this now. Then don't work for them. Well, Dustin, you don't understand. That's my sole source of income. Okay, then get a different one. Well, Dustin, you don't understand. We don't have private work in my, really? Or are you just not going after it? Well, Dustin, you don't understand. There's not direct lending in this area. I can't just go to a brick and mortar and show up there. They all use AMCs. Okay. Folks, do you realize you have a choice? You do. And if you don't like an AMC coming to you and say, you know what, here's a deal where we want a little higher bar set, then say no and walk away. But don't jump on a forum on Facebook and say they have no right to do this, damn it. They can't do that. They cannot dictate what I wear. Yeah, they can, because you don't have to do it. You don't have to do the job. You can walk away from the job. I want to pause here and remind you we're sponsored by ANOW Software. ANOW, of course, is the software that I'm using to, take care of my entire appraisal office. I'll tell you, one of the experiences that I have on a pretty regular basis, and it's probably just because I'm paranoid, but I've been trying to do less and less appraisal work lately, and it's actually kind of it's a culture shock for me, okay? Because I'm not used to that. And sometimes because I've been able to delegate so much, it feels like we're not busy. And sometimes I wake up in the morning, I'm like, holy crap, how am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to pay all of these people that I've hired? And I freak out a little bit, and then I jump on my phone and I pull up my ANOW app, and I'm like, oh, okay, we're good. We're doing plenty of work, right? I love ANOW at a moment can give me a snapshot of everything that's going on in my appraisal office. It can for you as well. Go to anow.com/coach and get a free 3 months of the All-Star Team. That's right. All-Star Team, 3 months free if you go to anow.com/coach. All right. We're talking about what can and can't our potential employers, and by employers, I mean our clients, those individuals who reach out to us and they say, you know what, we want you to do this job and here's how we want it done. Folks, a lot of times appraisers get up in arms and they say, how dare they, damn it, they can't tell me what I can wear and what I can't wear. They can't tell me this and they can't tell me that. You know, it was also, it became very clear recently, there's a big AMC, and you know which one I'm talking about, big AMC out there that is rolling out an app that you can get on and you can say, hey, I'm available during these times and I'll be in this area during these times, and any order you have, send it to me, right? And some appraisers are complaining, say, what the hell, big brother, they know where we're at all the time. Hold on, you put the information in, okay? It's not like they're tracking you with GPS, right? How dare they do that? They can't do that. Well, yeah, they can. They can and they do. Now, you can choose not to work for that company, but they can do what they're doing, right? And I just want to make it very clear today that we do have a choice as appraisers, right? I am with you 100%. I don't agree with a lot of the crap that goes on out there. Trust me. I know this episode might sound opposite of that, but I'm trying to make a point. In general, you're absolutely right. There's a lot of junk that goes on that we appraisers have to deal with and put up with, and I hate it. I do. But here's the thing. Over time, I think you can tweak your clientele to where you're working for A clients. And yes, there are A client AMCs out there, believe it or not. And B clients, there's a lot of them. Okay. And then there's some Y clients, a lot of Y clients. I don't work for a lot of AMCs because they're crap. Okay. I work for a handful of hand-picked, filtered out, and don't ask me who they are because trust me, folks, they're different in every other area. I work for AMCs that I absolutely love, that I talk to my appraiser dream team. That maybe in Philadelphia, they're horrible, or maybe in Southern California, their fees are ridiculous, right? And in my area, they're great, you know. So a B plus client for me might be a Y client for somebody else. Okay, so I don't have a list out there of the ones that I'm going to say, hey, these are the greatest, because they're different in every area. You got to try them out, but filter out and decide which ones you're going to work for. And furthermore, back to the point of today, even if you are working for a client and in general you're doing okay, right? If they ask you to do something that you disagree with, guess what? You can say no. Okay? I work for a lot of how do I want to put this? These are high net worth individuals. I work in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, folks, and I appraise on a pretty regular basis multi-million-dollar homes, estates. These things are blow your mind gorgeous. I've done work for celebrities. Okay? So for example, I did a home about 6 months ago where it was revealed to me who owned the home. And it was revealed to me because the trust was different than the homeowner or the borrower. Okay. And so it was revealed to me in confidence who it was. And it was somebody that you all would know. Okay. It's not a superstar A-list celebrity, but you would know this person. Okay. Owns a home in the Jackson Hole area. I was asked to appraise the home, and the client came to me and actually called me, wanted to talk to me directly and said, we want to send you this appraisal. You've been working this area for 20 plus years. We like your work. We know you know what you're doing over there. However, this needs to be very confidential as to who this is. And here's some things. We want you to dress business casual. We want you to contact the estate manager to set it up. You probably will not meet the celebrity. Most likely the celebrity will not be in the home. And she was not when I went there. But we want this to be kept confidential, of course. And we want you to not take pictures in the home of personal effects, such as family photos and other things that would reveal who lives in the home. Okay. Now, some of you might say, "Oh, by damn it, they can't tell me what to do. I'm going to take any picture I want. They want me to be an appraiser. I'm going to be an appraiser. You can't tell me to keep it confidential. I'm going to blab it to everybody." Guess what, folks? I didn't do that. Why? Because number one, the client that came to me is an A client, an AMC that's an A client. And I've worked for this AMC for a long, long time and have a good working relationship, and they pay me well for what I do. They respect what I do. And granted, there's a lot of crap that happens with AMCs, but guess what? There are a few of them out there that actually treat you as professionals. I did not take offense when I was called by the AMC and asked to maybe dress up a little bit, Maybe be very careful about the way that I took pictures and keep everything confidential as far as the appraisal goes. I didn't take any offense at all. Okay. That was part of the deal I signed on. Could I have said no? Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's the thing. Bottom line, folks, if you're upset, if you're angry with an instruction that comes for an AMC, you have a business decision now to make. Okay. Now you might have an ethical decision. In other words, you might be asked by a client to do something that's completely unethical. And at that point, it's a little different situation, right? Maybe you do have a right to be up in arms. But if a client asks you to do something that's maybe a little above and beyond what you normally do, okay? If it's a one-off decision, it's a business decision that you need to make, okay? In other words, they don't normally ask me to do this, but on this particular order they did. Now I need to make a business decision as to whether or not I'm going to do that thing. On a higher level, if they consistently or in general have a rule that they want you to follow, folks, you have the choice whether or not to work for that company. That's the point I wanted to make today. And here's the other point, okay? Here's the other point that I would point out. Most individuals, even though there were some that were pretty upset at this situation, how dare they tell me how to dress, right? But there were other appraisers that jumped in there and said, hey, for enough money, I'll do anything you want me to do. Right? For enough money, you can tell me how to dress, right? You can tell me to wear a bow tie and clown shoes and a red nose, and I will do it for enough money. Guess what, folks? I'm here to announce publicly that for enough money, I will do the same thing. You want me to show up in a clown suit to do my appraisal inspection? You pay me enough money, folks, and I will pimp myself out for that. I will. I don't think it's going to happen, but here's the point. I regularly do work as I mentioned earlier, in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And guess what? I'm not charging no $450 to do work over there. I'm getting paid quite handsomely to do these multi-million-dollar estates, sometimes in the multi-thousands of dollars to do one appraisal on one property. Okay. The one that I told you about earlier, I'm not going to reveal the price, the fee, but let me just say it was more than $2,000. We'll put it that way, okay? And you bet I'm going to do some extra things, and I'm going to treat the experience a little bit different than I would, say, doing a $450 appraisal in Idaho Falls, Idaho on a typical single-family home. I'm going to treat the situation differently. I want to be the appraiser that this company comes back next time when they have another celebrity or another high net worth individual that they know that they can trust me with some professionalism and what I bring to the experience. Okay. Whew. How's that? How's that for some information? Folks, thank you for joining me. We talked earlier about the All-Star Team. With Now, you can get 3 free months of the All-Star Team. But folks, it's only $9 a month. We would love to have you join us. Every month, we give you it's an 8-page color newsletter. It comes across your email. And here's a key. It comes in audio as well. I was going to say every word, but I actually do it similar to a podcast. I used to read word for word, and I changed that up, and I really like the format better now, where I'm giving you the ideas and the principles kind of in the same fashion and format that you're getting them here. But it's not just talking about whether or not we should dress up for an appraisal. It's talking about hard-hitting business ideas that will allow you to be more successful as a real estate appraiser. Hope you will join us. Go to theappraisercoach.com, click on memberships, and join the All-Star Team today.
You've been listening to the Appraiser Coach podcast with Dustin Harris. If you like what you hear, please give us a 5-star rating and post a short review on iTunes. For more in-depth insider information on how you can make more money as a real estate appraiser, visit theappraisercoach.com and sign up for the All-Star Team today. Thanks for joining us. And now, get out there and create some value.
And sorry.